Hey guys, this is Slowlane123 for Deuces Cracked, bringing you the first episode of what I believe will be called Full Wing. It may not be. I haven't clarified that with the producers at deucescracked.com yet, but we'll see how that goes. Today I'm going to be starting a new series on full ring play. We're going to be focusing pretty much exclusively on Zoom. Oops, tables popped up there. On Zoom play on Stars. If anyone has any requests for anywhere else where there's good full ring games running, especially if it's like mid-stakes games, then we could potentially do something there. If I'm getting some people to send in some video play of themselves, DC members, so check out the Full Ring forum if you're interested in having your play analysed by me for a video. I've posted in there, and that's that. I figured I would start with what I've been up to. Every time I do one of these videos, it tends to be mixed reviews and people saying we don't care what you're up to or what you do with your life. And the other half tend to say, oh, we love getting to know the person and whatever else behind the videos and stuff like that. So anyway, I am okay. Well, I just got the email from the producer, so this episode will actually be called Zoom Full Ring. So thank you for that update, Rusty. This is called Zoom Full Ring. So it will all be Zoom, I assume. I'm just turning the microphone volume down a little bit because I'm redlining a little. What have I been up to? Well, Full Tilt hit was kind of crazy for me last year. Lost most of my roll on there, and I got a good chunk of it off beforehand after Black Friday, and then when June 29 hit, I still lost a reasonably good portion. And I spent probably a good 6 months just thinking that Full Tilt would eventually just come around and reopen and we get that money back. So I kind of just lazed about with my winnings and just sort of enjoyed not really doing much. I sort of played a tiny bit of Stars Full Ring, playing very loose, and I was winning okay. I think it was about 5 or 6 BB 100 over about 60,000 hands. And then I think it was, I can't remember exactly when it was, maybe like December or January or something. I decided I'd give Six Max a run. I'd always run pretty horribly in Six Max, and had never been able to beat it. Felt like I was cursed there. It's all in my blog if anyone wants to look that up. Switched over to Six Max and still just seemed to run horrible there and couldn't figure out how to beat it initially, and sort of broke even for my first. Well, I was a slight winner, and I made a decent amount after rakeback because I was on iPoker and they have good rakeback deals there, or VIP deals as they're called. And yeah, so I was doing okay. At least I was making a tiny bit. And then in about 2.5 months ago, decided that I'd really start to take Six Max as seriously as I could, and did a full review of my game and looked at other people's games and what I wasn't doing and what I should be doing, and I sort of stopped breaking even, and which was nice. And I think I've got the graph here somewhere. This has been my last 2.5 months of Six Max, which has been pretty nice. I haven't played a lot of volume. I think it's about 76,000 hands or something. Yep, 76 exactly. I haven't played a huge amount because, well, firstly I was on iPoker, so it takes a long time to join waitlists and set up tables and whatever else. And on iPoker I was like 12 tabling. I started off like 6, then I went to 10, and then I ended up 12 tabling, which was a good number for me. And what I normally did towards the end was I would just load all the best 200 and 400 NL tables that were running, and then for the last 4 tables I would just bum hunt like 600 to 2000 NL And actually you can see in the graph here, this was my first little 2000 NL session. That was all just one little session there. It was kind of nuts. I think it was actually my biggest day ever, and it was mainly just because I sucked out in one pot against aces, which was really nice. My biggest day, I think, is about 4.6k or something before reg back, so a little over 5 after, I guess. So yeah, this is all 6 max on iPoker, and then here I switched to 200 NL Zoom 6 max, and then I think around somewhere along here I switched to 500 NL Zoom 6 max, and yeah, you can see the rest as it is. So this is all mid stakes. Well, I suppose I still qualify 200 as being close enough to mid stakes when you're playing that range of stakes. So yeah, it's pretty much all mid stakes from 200 to 2k NL, with about 50% being 200 and 500 Zoom, and the rest being on iPoker. So that is what I've been up to. Let's switch back to this thing. In addition to that, I recorded just a week ago. I finished recording an EP, which is an extended play. It's like a short album, 5 songs, and that at the moment is finished. I'm getting the cover design done with my sister, who's an artist. She's drawing a cool thing for it, and I'm getting the songs mastered, which just basically means that they're getting ready for radio ready. And then they'll be printed, and hopefully sometime in about a month or so I'll be able to get all that together. Tracks are sounding great. I should have those up on Facebook at some point. If you haven't and want to, facebook.com/jake.edgley.music. That's my page, or you can just search Jake Edgley, and I'm pretty sure it's the only fan page sort of thing that's on there. You can hear some of my older stuff at the moment, and then I'll put the newer tracks up there soon. I think that's about it for me. Let's talk about what this video is going to be all about. So we're going to be playing Zoom Full Ring on Stars, focusing on micros and small stakes, and if I can find some of the 200 and 500 running, then I will play it and see how we go there. I won't have any stats on the players to begin. I'm planning on a good portion of this series being people sending me in videos and me analysing their play, because you can see the mistakes that you guys are most likely making, as opposed to seeing at least close to optimal play, or at least what I think is optimal play. So let's focus now on the topics for today / this series / life. Player types on Stars. This has always been the same for me. Like 80% of the player pool is broken into nits and fish. You have people who are playing far too tight, and then you have players who are playing far too loose. I'd say if that's 80% of the player pool, you've then probably got maybe 10 to 12%, maybe 15% of tags who are actually kind of okay, and then a very small percent, maybe like less than 5%, is a decent lag or semi-lag type player. Personally, I think I fall into like a semi-lag player. At 6 max, I play pretty loose. At Stars, last time I was playing Full Ring properly, I was playing like 22-18 with a 6% 3-bet, which I think is probably semi-lag, maybe lag. Now, the next point I want to run into is how do we combat when 80% of the player pool are nits and fish. For me, the best way I find to do it is to run this sort of semi-lag game. It's basically just, it's somewhere between a tag and a lag, I think, is what we're going to aim to have you guys playing by the end of this series. And the reason for that is that, I'm just going to turn the mic down a little bit more, so you may need to adjust your volume because I'm redlining a little bit still, is that if you've got nits and fish, then you've got players who you're pretty happy to play nearly any hand in position against, which is fish. I mean, really, there's very few hands that we can't open in the button and cut off and be happy to play in position against a fish. So, and then conversely, you've got the nits who are just folding far too often, especially from the blinds, not defending enough. Um, so basically, the point I'm trying to get to is that we want to have very high steal percentages. Um, People will probably be saying like, "Oh, well, how do you increase your steal percentage?" Or I don't know, whatever it is that you're going to ask. I'm psychically trying to predict. Um, Basically, you what I like to do initially when I'm trying to open up my steal percentage is like go too far to the point where I can feel I'm out of my comfort zone. I feel like I'm opening up two hands, like too many hands. Sorry, this is my internet's going in and out, so that jumps up when I get reconnected. So push it too far, open every button, and try opening like a huge portion, like in the cutoff, and to the point where it's uncomfortable and you feel like it's not winning. And when you try this sort of stuff, I'd suggest you move down a stake to do so. Um, but make sure that you try and push it a little bit too far and then start bringing it back. So at least you know what the one extreme is. And then you can start bringing it back to where you feel comfortable, somewhere between where you were and somewhere between where it feels too extreme. If you feel like it doesn't get too extreme, like for me, I open nearly every button when there's two tags or tighter in the blinds at 6 max, and I'd probably be doing the same at full ring. Um, then if that's working for you and you feel comfortable doing it, then do it. If it's not, but you feel like you could just bring it back a little and feel comfortable there, then try and do that. You got to find your own little niche for it, I guess. I mean that's going to be a huge part of what I want this series to be about, is increasing that steal percentage, so that, because not only does it make you start playing looser and get more experience in more situations and play more hands against fish and steal more blinds from nits, it gives you that image that you're kind of this really loose, aggressive guy, whereas really you're just making a lot of cheap steals. Personally, I like to min raise the button. I don't really see any reason not to. I think it's almost standard these days. I think almost everybody's doing it, and I like to open really big from early position and whatnot. Anyway, this is dragging on a bit, so I don't want to go on too long. The other thing I was going to say is that weekend poker is still like super dreamy. Anyone who says games are dead, just play for a few hours on the weekend and you'll see. So if you're a high volume player or something, you should try and maybe pull back your hours during the week or something, and add some more on the weekend. Which might seem pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. Okay, now already here I've just literally sat in and sat out, and the first hands in, there were some interesting spots. Reasonably standard, I think, most of them. This was just a blind versus blind. Blind versus blind situation. Standard 3-bet with ace-8 off. I obviously don't have any stats at these stakes. Flop the ace high. I c-bet. A little under half pot, want to keep his range fairly wide. I feel like a lot of people bet too big here, like $10 or something. I mean, this is a spot where you should be c-betting pretty close to 100% of your range. He's not going to have many ace-x that he's suited, that he's flatted out of position. So we're probably going to run at least 2 barrels here a lot of the time. And then he check folds the turn. A bet bigger on the turn, just because I felt like this is a card that we're just never going to get fold equity on. Really. I mean, we really rep just exactly like 10-10 and ace-x. So I feel like when we don't rep a very wide range, it's a good spot to bet. Slightly bigger than we were on the flop. Still not a huge bet, it's only just over 50%. So, and he folded. This was my first hand that I sat in to see. Limp, limp, limp. So I mean, just straight away, like, if games are dead, then I mean, they seem pretty live to me. So, anyway. And then there was one other one over here, which I think was kind of interesting. So this is just standard overcall. I'd probably overcall with any suited king here. Standard spot to donk, reasonably big, drawy board. Turns a blank. Could have gone a little bigger on the turn. I think 13 to 16 is fine. I'd probably go a little bigger with stronger kings and bet around that much with a slightly weaker king. That's fine. Just keep his range a little bit wider. And the flush gets around the river, and I think the flush makes up a huge percentage of his range. I don't ever expect him to turn like a queen or a king into a bluff here. I just don't really think that that's going to be particularly standard at these stakes. I mean, he could, but whatever. And he bets pretty big, and I just folded. Junk. So yeah, couple of interesting little hands here. My internet will probably go in and out at some point during this video, but it should only take me a few seconds to reconnect. And let's get into it. So obviously this is live play video. I'm gonna do the commentary as is. Oh man, flatting ace kings feels so weird. I did play a little bit of full ring on iPoker when the games were running. They were really juicy, the full ring games on iPoker I found at mid stakes. Mainly I was just using them because I couldn't quite handle 12 6-max tables to begin with. And I was just using them to slow down the table pace, but still filling up 12 tables on the screen. On table 4 there, I decided to raise if I'm going to flat that pre, and then I am going to raise that board with all my best kings, ace, king, king, queen, all my sets, flush draws and stuff. I'm going to make a pretty wide raising range there. What are we doing here? Yeah, so I feel like he's probably just going to bet that board once and then give up. That steal was too big on table 4. I was distracted by talking to you guys. I probably could have just min raised or gone to 2.5x. He's only got like 25 big blinds, 30 big blinds, so I'm going to isolate with almost any 2 cards on table 2 there. It's going to 3-bet small. I'm going to start out 3-betting pretty small to begin with at these stakes because I'm going to be 3-betting quite a lot. So I really just want to figure out how people are reacting to 3-bets at these stakes, because I don't really know that much. I've coached a fair bit of 100 NL full ring lately, but as far as playing it goes, not so much. So really just trying to see how people react to 3-bets and stuff. When he check calls out of position here, I feel like he's pretty frequently got like some sort of mid-range pocket pair. I'm just going to give up on the 5, 6, 7 board. This is kind of frantic. I wonder if I should drop a table out or something. And if I'm going to bet here, I'm going to go for 3, and I think I probably can. And here, this is just an easy value bet. Don't really love that river card. Gut kind of gives me that feeling he's got 2 10s. But I think we're just going to have to go with it. I had a gut feeling he had 2 10s, so in which case he'll always be check calling the river. If he's backed into a set somewhere along the way and just scared of the flush, like had jacks or 8s or something, he's probably going to call. But I still think there are a decent number of hands that he'll fold. Maybe just like a I'll just bring that hand over again. Oh, there it is there. This is pretty hectic, I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't expecting it to be this crazy. I feel like I don't even I feel like I play fewer hands than this at 6-max. Yeah, I feel like there's still going to be some, like, if you floated the flop with just like an ace king or something like that, which people do a fair bit, which has got too much equity not to bet on table 2. He might fold if he bumped into a jack along the way, if he had something like an ace jack with the ace of clubs or something like that. And sure enough, we bink on the river. Kind of want to overbet here. There's just so many draws missed, and I feel like he's probably going to bluff catch with like 2 jacks, 2 10s, a queen. So yeah, let's do it. Let's go for 36. 150% pot. gut shot on and back to a flush draw at table 4. It's going to be a standard c-bet. And we bank. I don't normally run this good, okay? Alright, nothing left to bet there, but just bet and bet big. I mean, while I don't know anything about these players, there's not really going to be much to do other than just bet big when I have it and not really bet that big when I don't. That's another thing that I wanted to point out is that nits and fish, when you're playing against these type of players, against the fish especially, you can really just bet and one of the biggest things I think I do really well is that I'm very aware when I'm playing against a fish, and I'm very aware of my bet sizing against fish. My bluffs are always really small, my value bets are always really big. I mean, this guy's double barreled this board. We've got a blocker to like Queen 10 and King Queen, which are really the only hands I think he's barreling here. I don't expect him to have many hearts. So I'm just going to fold this turn. At the same time, I don't expect him to really be betting an ace. But at the same time, I don't expect him to expect me to have a jack very often to be calling under the gun open from the big blind. I just overcalled there, so I don't need to worry about c-betting. I feel like there was something I was on about 90 seconds ago that I may have forgotten or left behind, but if so, just put it in the comments and I'll get to it. Also, let me know if this is like too crazy, because already I can feel myself struggling. I really like doing post review of post commentary, blah blah blah, of the play, just so we can take every hand and analyze it as deeply as we want. There was also a 2-2 fold earlier. I think I was in like middle position versus under the gun open. I think a lot of people have a leak of calling there with just about any pocket pair. I'd probably only call there if there was like really weak players in the blinds or on the button who's like a loose passive player, or if there was just absolutely no squeezes and some weak players behind me. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be a standard fold against a reg. Again, in a vacuum, I'm just going to assume that people that are opening to normal sizes and have full buy-ins are just sort of standard nitty regulars. Yeah, as I said, I do really love doing post audio because you get that extra time and it allows me to think through the process on each hand. Instead of voicing everything I'm saying and trying to, oh, there's one of my students. He's probably wondering what the hell I'm doing down here at 100 NL. So we get 3-bet here. Whose stats are you? You're that guy. In a vacuum, I think he's probably, if I've never played with him before, I think he's probably just going to assume that I'm some sort of weak player, so I'm just going to make like a standard 4-bet here and decide what to do if he shoves. I'll probably call, I guess. It's the sound of me sipping water. Really juicy dry flop for us. I'm just going to bet really small. We can easily get all our money in over 3 straights, and it's going to bet like a third of the pot. If I bet 14 here, that's going to put 28 more into the pot. So 28, that's going to be 68 in there on the turn, which is going to be, you know, I could set up a turn shove if I wanted. I am going to shove this turn, actually. It's pretty much exactly pot. The reason I'm shoving is because I can easily just be shoving here with the ace-x of spades. And yeah, that student's just messaged me on Facebook and said, what the hell are you doing at 100L flooring? So I'm just going to ship it here. I don't expect him to fold an overpair with a spade or the ace-king of spades either. So yeah, I think he played that fine. If he's gonna 3-bet ace-king, I would normally just be 3-bet, 5-bet, but calling it's fine if that's how he prefers to play it. This guy looks nitty. We've already got 40 hands on him, and he's short stacks. Did I call here? What happened? I shouldn't have called. He's not deep enough for me to be calling. So my raise sizes are going to be like min raising buttons, 2.5xing turn. Turn. 2.5xing cutoff. I'm just going to message that student and tell him why I'm here. Otherwise, he might think I got hacked or something. Seems like a pretty good spot to squeeze. 4x is my standard squeeze. Out of position, I'm going to go just over that because his range is going to be a little tighter because he's opening under the gun. Yes. So my other raise size is going to be like 3 to 3.5 from middle position, and then 3.5 to 4x under the gun 1, depending on the table. If it's like a really fishy table, I'll just open a 4x. If it's just a standard table, I'd probably go 3.5, sometimes 3. He's messaging me still. He wrote in chat that I was a fish. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's min raising buttons. Opening any ace-x on the button, and pretty close to any ace-x in the cutoff 2, most likely, unless there's some real aggro 3-better on the button. Opening 10-6 off on the button is going to be standard. There's going to be very few hands that I'm not opening on the button, at least to start here. Once I get some stats that have transpired and I can see how loose or and aggressive some people might be playing, then I'll start bringing that back, but I'll be opening pretty close to any 2 cards on the button until then. I think 2-4 off will be a no-go for the button. Still going to open any pocket pair. Zenzor looks familiar. I think that's a 2+2er. And it looks like we've got Zenzor, who I think is a 2+2er, and this guy who is maybe a fish. I mean, very obviously tiny sample size, and this guy who may be a fish as well. So just see bet and decide what happens. I mean, I probably have to fold to a raise there. We get squeezed here by someone who's been pretty nitty so far. There's a huge squeeze too. I'm just gonna bank on the sample size that he is a net. He has that sort of nitty name as well, Vigilante. He just sounds like he's gonna be a really nitty reg. If I am reading the stats right and reading that it's the right player. Yeah, so it is 9-9 over 45 hands. So I'm just gonna fold there. That's fine. Just that Vigilante name has like a really nitty sort of sound to it as well. If you're out there, Vigilante, and you are watching this, then big mistake choosing a name that is very identifiable with nitty stats. Okay, my student just limped behind. Probably doesn't want to get 3-bet by me. Can't blame him. I'd hate to be 3-bet by me. This guy's super nitty. I'm just going to bet really small. So here's the first spot where I think it's going to be he's going to be heavily weighted towards pocket pairs. Again, I mean, it's such a small sample size, but I'm going to go for 2, and then I'm going to give it up. He min raises. Solid. So my student limb folded. Oh, he's probably been drinking. So obviously folding there. Oh, I donked here. I did not realise that. Is this guy? I'll call and see what's what. I think the flat pre is pretty standard. This is interesting on the turn. An over shove. Well, he's never shoving like. It would be super 6 level if he was shoving like ace 10 here or king 10. I don't think that's ever happening. Call for education. Ace jack. He turned the jack. Wow, that's kind of sick. That seems pretty bad. I would assume the reason I called it is that I assume in a vacuum that players aren't going to assume that I would call with worse than ace jack, which would mean that he's shoving with either a draw or just some random stuff. Okay, so once this guy checks the turn, I mean, I don't think I'm ever beat here. Unless he's just that scared that he can't check raise ace 10. Ooh, this is certainly an interesting session. Check, call, check, raise. I mean, the only hand I can possibly figure he has here is like maybe a funky play king jack or ace 10 that he was scared to check raise on the flop. Very confusing. You know what? I'm just let him take it. What's happened over here? I'm just going to lead out. My time bank's running out everywhere. You don't get any time down here at these stakes. It sucks. I was going to bet like full pot against the fish on table 2. I don't know. I need to think for a little bit more. I need more time. It's very difficult when you don't get much time bank down here. I was going to bet here and try and get him to fold any pocket pair on table 3. Jerk. I should have bet. I was running out of time bank again. It's killing me. Kind of want to check raise that bet. I'm guessing this guy's probably a weak player, judging by that bet size. Needy player opens, fold ace jack. It was too loose and open with king 10 off. Open king 10 suited there, but not anything else. Actually kind of like check raising the turn there, because it kind of looks like I'm full of shit with like a gut shot or a flush draw or something. Where I'd just be check raise folding. And I'm just going to be a little unbalanced because it's one of my first time playing a stake, so presumably no one knows what raise size I'm opening to, and I'm just going to open to 3x. And just bet just under half pot to try and get this guy to stick around. Just the name, the stack size, everything kind of leads me to believe the picture, the stupid little emo picture, like it just all reeks fish to me. So I'm pretty happily just betting small and trying to induce something, and just never ever folding, even if it comes ace whatever. I can't see what he's got. 4-4. I haven't really configured my HUD properly for yeah, 4-4. So it looks like I induced with the small bet there. I'm just going to overcall with that because the guy opening is a nit, seemingly. River Me a Dream. That sounds familiar. I think I used to play him at 200 NL full ring. Uh, calling position with King Queen suit. I think that's fine. If there was a heart on this board on table 4, I'd consider making a play or floating or something, but as it is, I'll just give up on it. I'm going to call with the ace queen. I feel like the nit's just always giving up, or he has like pocket 9s or pocket 10s. I feel like that guy could be betting with literally any 2 cards. And once we get that turn card, I mean, I don't really mind check calling. I just feel like I'm going to have showdown value here reasonably often. Betting could be good too. I think I'll just take the lead. The way I get to fold is nothing anyways. Or anything that has equity against me. I'll just check and hope that he's a retard and checks back something that's worse. Like Queen Jack or Jack 10. If I had more info, I'd consider jamming here. If I had more info, I'd consider calling here. But as it is, I think I just gotta fold. That 3-bet was miles too big. I didn't look at his stack size. Smaller stack size players you can 3-bet smaller against. Just make all your bets against generally. Smaller against them generally. Overcalling here, I just wanted to check that that guy's full stacked, and he is. We've got a piece. I'm going to raise. I feel like it's a board that he's just going to bet and give up on if he's betting something like ace-king with the ace of clubs. And I feel like you can still call with worse. You can still call with flush draws or maybe something like ace-8. And I'm going to check back and try and bink something. I don't mind going for a second barrel there, but when I don't really know he's going to respond to it, I'm just going to leave it. What is going on here? I opened. And this is a mandatory bet on the river. This is part of the reason why I raised as well. Pretty believable that I've hit something here. And he can have some 8s, but I think the vast majority of his range is non-8 and non-flush hands when he checks the river. This guy bets really small. I don't really like it. I feel like it's just like a weak king or something stupid. But I'll call it. Could be something like Queen Jack as well. Nit opens, not really keen to 3-bet get in ace king against a nit when we're 120 deep. Just over half pot. So many things missed. I feel like he'd bet more with like an ace queen hand or a queen 9 hand. Oh, bluff catch. Ace 10. I feel like he'd bet more if he had like a nut hand, like a king 10, king jack, ace queen, queen 9 sort of hand. And I was figuring he had something like he had like a queen 10, ace 10 that had a draw but ended up missing. When he bets at that sort of size on the river. I just don't feel like players at these stakes are going to be very good at thin value betting. Like value betting any king that doesn't have 2 pair is going to be pretty thin there. I'm actually going to flat and try and keep this fish in on table 1. Perfect. And I'll be back raise shoving for sure, and I'm never folding to whatever this guy does. I give ace king a lot of credit, and I'm pretty happily getting it in any kind of unusual situation like this. If this guy's seriously squeeze folding, that would be horrible. So he has 10s and he flops the set, that's fine. Flatting 3s. I think this is too loose with Queen 10 suited. I'm just trying to remember my old opening ranges. And I think this is very often just a check fold on table 4. People generally don't open and then check call these boards. Yeah, I think this will be my only live play video with live commentary, because there's concepts that I kind of want to dive into, but I just keep getting pulled into other situations and other hands. So I'm pretty sure this guy is like a good winning regular. I remember the name from 200 full ring a while back. I'm actually going to sit down and see what happens here, see how he's 3-betting me. I assume he'll probably snap fold. I'm probably getting 3-bet polarized by him. Unless he has the old hand database on me. Yeah, so he folded, but he kind of tank folded, which is mildly interesting. Got 2 backdoor straight draws here. No. If I had ace queen of clubs and I had like backdoor flush draw, then I consider it. I'm gonna 3-bet my student just because I feel like he's gonna give me a lot of credit. I was kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping this guy bets on the turn here. This guy with high aggression over a very small sample, because I would check call against him once it goes check check on the flop. I'm just gonna 3-bet to isolate here on table 3. I do this really wide. It's for value and isolation because I feel like this guy can call with anything. I've just got a call there. Yeah, there's no way I could ever fold ace high against that. I mean, what would he check back the turn with that suddenly has value on the river, unless he has exactly 5, of which I think he would bet at some point anyway. And I'm just going to bet tiny here and try and get value from like 7s or 8s. Call me crazy, but I still think there's $1.50 worth of value in this hand. King, damn. So that's super nitty to be playing kings that way. Personally, I'd like to bet them at some point and protect. What am I looking at? Fires. I was thinking about the other hand while I was looking at the fires. I suppose he doesn't have to protect too much. Protection and value, though. Yeah, I think he should just bet for value on the turn. This is interesting. I'll call. I got the second nut flush draw. I got 3rd pair. This guy limps a button. I just like to raise really big one. He's only got $22. Look at the stack size, you moron. And just check and hope that we're good with the jacks. This is against River Me a Dream. I'm not going to mess around with the good regulars too much because presumably they're going to know that I'm making a DC video, and they're going to know more of what level I am on than I'm going to know what level they're on. Because they may have seen DC videos, they probably know that I'm very aggressive at the moment because I'm playing 6 max, etc, etc. That's that guy, right? Any fish behind us? Yeah, there's a fish behind us, so I'll just call. Otherwise I'd 3-bet for value. Hopefully River Me a Dream 3-bets us here, and then I can call and then check raise just about any flop. And this will be a flop that I'll be check raising. Any jack, any king, any spade. I just feel like he's probably playing overly aggressive against me. That is a really interesting turn card. I'm going to bet small, and then I'm probably going to shove a river, regardless of what comes. I think the small bet here is pretty delicious and kind of looks like I've just smacked it, and then just shoving the river reasonably quickly to make it look believable. And he calls. Oh, he had the 7, fair enough. But I don't think he calls there with anything but a 7. I don't think he calls with even aces there. I don't think there's any chance that he's calling with it. So yeah, I still like the play even though it didn't work that specific time. And I don't mind his play as long as he's valuing ace high as having some showdown value. If he doesn't think it has any showdown value when I check raise and he's not playing it for showdown, then he should 3-bet or fold to the check raise, I think. Because he doesn't really have any implied odds. He might, I guess, because it's pretty unlikely that he has a 7. Vigilante is nitty player. Where have I opened here? Where's the button? He's in the blind, so I don't expect him to have really any aces here. I probably could have bet smaller, like $3. He's just almost always got pocket pairs there. I'm going to check it back and then I'm going to bet the riv for value if it goes check check. Just small. Should open at 4x on table 3 there. Kind of bizarre. I mean, I'm not calling. There's nothing about it. I just don't ever expect him to really have ace x. So, it's a pretty small 3-bet. I don't call a lot of 3-bets out of position, but well, I did before with the king jack, but against this guy who's playing really loose and probably is just going to bluff off any board like that one. I'm pretty happy to do it. And he's just c-bet completely retardedly large. I'm going to tank call and make it look like I'm thinking about something with like 10s or jacks. I opened some ace-2 to ace-5 suited from under the gun for balance purposes. Oh, I nearly missed on the time bank there. And when we're deep, I'm actually going to overbet the turn here. I don't know much about this player, but I think overbetting's going to be pretty delicious. I'm just going to underbet. I mean, I feel like you can still call with worth. And here I'm just going to see if I can induce some spaz or something with the ace. And nothing, so obviously played that pretty much perfectly. Big Slick, how deep are you? You look like a weaker player. I'll flat, there's a fish in the big blind, and we're reasonably deep with a nitty opener, so pretty good flop for us. I'm not sure, given the way my stats are transpiring, that I'm going to get a lot of fold equity when I raise here. In addition, I don't think he c-bets this very often without an ace, so I'll just call and see what's what. What the hell is going on? Oh, I thought River Me a Dream had limped on table 1. 5, 3, 2, 1. Our outs aren't clean either. If our outs were clean, then I might consider a call here or something else, but the flush route there can't be done. I'm going to see bet pretty small against... Oh, no, yeah, it is two weaker players. So I'm just going to see bet small against these two weaker players. On the turn, I think I'll just check and give up. Hopefully I'll just check back something like King Jack. Would be nice. That's the third of the pot. That's probably an ace rag. So I'm just going to pitch it here. Okay, we got 4-bet by loose passive nitty player. Glad my internet hasn't cut out at all. So I was talking at the start of the video about nits and fish. I think that basically anyone playing tighter than like 14-11 falls in the nit category. Maybe tighter than 13-10. And then anything up from that tag, and then I think around 16-12, 16-13 gets into the sort of merge of the tag to lag area, and then I think anything looser than like 2016 just moves into straight lag. So my student donks there. I expect his range to be really strong. I think there was a weak player that called as well. I'm going to bet big on this board. I feel like I'm getting a lot of calls, and I have a good hand that I want to protect. Check raise. If it was like King 10-9, I had the King of Clubs, or even if I just had the Queen of Clubs. And I'm just not folding Ace King. This might just be my 6-max side coming in, but I'm just not folding Ace King. We can probably be results orientated, I guess. Yeah, and it looks like that is correct. The King Queen I was folding. If I had a King or Queen of Clubs, then I might consider doing something else. But he just kind of looks loose passive in his pre-flop stats, and generally that will flow into someone's post-flop game. When you know 50 or 100 hands is all we have to work with, which isn't a lot, then I'm just going to assume that players are generally more passive than not. And we're reasonably deep with my student here, so I'm going to play against him and flop the nuts with a straight flush redraw, and I'm going to stack him. Poor guy, doesn't know what's about to hit him. I'm going to raise just because I don't want a bad card to come off, and I feel like he's probably going to shut down a lot against me, I'm guessing. My guess is that he has something like 2 queens there. I got a blocker though. We've got a heart for the backdoor and 2 overs, so I'm pretty happy c-betting there. We're really deep, and it's a multi-way pot with a pocket pair. So that's standard call. Kind of tricky spot to play. I think bet fold is going to be pretty standard. Obviously can't check raise. Check calling seems kind of gross, so I'll just bet fold. Just seems like a pretty horrible size there from Swings lol. You're probably going to hear me bitching a lot about people's sizing. I need a sip of water. Generally, I find people just do not size their bets well. They size them really in a really unbalanced manner. It's just going to be one of my ace-x suited to open on the gun. And obviously it's fold king jack. I feel like the biggest thing a lot of people do is they bet too big in spots where they're going to be bluffing a lot. And then vice versa, they bet too small in spots where they're going to have a lot of value hands, which is problematic because you want to make all your bluffs really cheap and all your value hands really big. And this is just going to be a standard double barrel. I wish it was a better turn card, but I'm still going to run with it anyways. Any ace, any three is going to be good. And that river totally sucks to barrel, so I'm just going to give up. I expect to see like pocket sixes here a decent amount, but I'm not sure that I can get him to fold it. Pocket nines, same thing. Let's fold the sevens. Just considering the standard of players at these stakes, oftentimes I will just cold call with a small or mid pocket pair, just basing on the idea that it's very likely that there will be a fish behind me or in the blinds that will overcall, especially if there's still like 4 players left to act, and I've got like pocket threes like I had before. Often I'll just assume there's going to be weak play because there usually is. There's usually, 2 fish per table at these stakes, I think. It's just going to be a standard big raise with 4s. I'd rather be doing it with king queen because you have better barreling opportunities and always have overcards on the flop, but against likely 2 weak players, then I can't help but do it, and especially when you know the set's coming. And I'm just going to bet really big. I'm just going to shove the river and just snap folds. I don't mind if people just want to check the 4s there either. I mean, either way, I just, for me personally, I always like to take the aggressive line. That's just the way I've started to play lately, especially due to a lot of 6-max. Oh my god, Gambols. I think I used to play with that guy back on Cake in 2009. I remember he cooled me aces versus kings for like 250 big blinds and thinking afterwards, oh, I should have folded that back when I was a purely full ring player. I just want to see what happens in this hand with Gambols. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same guy. Wonder if he recognises me, probably not. So here with the 5-6, I'm just going to raise. I feel like Purpley Angel isn't going to have, is going to have a lot of not as strong aces in her range, if that's what she has when she bets. I feel like at least a good percentage of the time people are 3-betting ace king or ace queen there. So really it makes up a lot of like ace 10, ace jack, and then the ace queen, which I may be able to get a fold from anyways. Ace king I don't really ever expect to fold, so but if Purpley Angel or whatever the hell it was the pre-flop raiser, then it would be different. You could still have ace king in the range, and I might be more inclined to call. I still might raise, but that's just things to take into consideration. So my stats here are looking almost exactly the same as they were when I used to play full ring on stars. I think I was like 22. I may have said it already, but 22-18 with like a 6 or 7% 3-bet. And at the moment I'm 25-19, probably playing slightly more loose passive than I normally do pre, just because I'm not sure of how much fold equity I'm going to get on my squeezes and stuff like that. So I'm overcalling some hands that I might normally squeeze. And when people call out of position on king high boards, it's generally a good spot to barrel. Obviously player dependent, but if you look up regs calling ranges out of position, you'll often find they're really unbalanced. I don't even know what happened there on the turn. He bet, did he? He donked out. And just never folding ace king for 50 big blinds. Don't want to shove it, I want to... I'll just fold it really small. Ship it, give me your money. Oh, you fish. Getting it in without a pair, what an idiot. Lol. Check raise. Yeah, whatever. His went to showdown there was only 11%, so I know it's tiny sample, but if it was up at like 67 or something ridiculous, I might just call and expect to have all the gut shots and whatever else, but so far he hasn't been going to showdown any crazy amount over the 60 hands that it's been, or whatever it is, so I'll just assume that he's not completely retarded. If there were some weaker players behind here with the king 10, I'd consider overcalling, but I'd definitely overcall with king 10 suited, but as it is, I'd just leave it. Oh, come on, HUD. I just want to see how often this guy's squeezing. I know it's a small sample, I keep saying that, but I still feel like I'd like to look at it and see if maybe he's squeezed some crazy amount over the small amount that we've had. Pretty sure he bought, so I'm going to actually bet a bit bigger here. Pretty interesting to see how there are a lot of names I'm recognizing here from my old full ring days. And standard call here. Again, this is my student, so I expect him to give me a lot of credit, which sucks because I'm about to raise him and he's probably going to fold. But in saying that, I'm hoping that he will think that I'm thinking that and go the other way. Kind of want to go bigger. As I said, I think he's going to give me a lot of credit here and fold really often. Like even like ace king there, I wouldn't be surprised. I've just found every time I'm playing with students that they give me way too much credit. And I don't blame them because, you know, I always teach them to have it at these smaller stake games. You don't want to be crazy bluffing too much. But then I come down here and I'm a bit of a crazy bluffer. That's how I roll. Standard overcall with queen 10. And Nitty Nit wants to squeeze. I'm never folding this in this situation. It's only 100 big blinds deep, so super standard. Get it in with ace king and a squeeze pot. Ace king again, you fish getting it in without a pair, what an idiot. And this guy shoves, I'm just going to snap off and hope he has the ace of hearts, but he doesn't, he has ace jack, so cooler there for 30 big blinds or whatever it was. Pretty good spot to squeeze here. Only issue is that I don't think River Mere Dream is going to give me any credit on anything I'm doing at the moment. But hopefully he might think that I'm thinking that. And then, oh my god, we've been going for ages. Time flies when you're having fun at the old full ring games. So I will hit the sit out next being blind button, and we'll take a quick look at this session. Had a fair few coolers in this session, which sucks. And we ran the one big bluff on River Mere Dream, which I think was actually a pretty good spot to do it, but caught the top of his range. I just can't help but isolate fish with any two cards. That's just me. If you're not comfortable isolating fish with any two cards, that's fine, and you probably shouldn't. It's just that fish are so rare where I play, so I tend to get a little overexcited. Here's a good spot and an interesting spot, I think. So Knitboy here behind us is very likely to have like small and mid pocket pairs, and the fish probably just has like ace 5 offsuit or something stupid. So even with this almost zero equity hand, it's a decent spot to see bet and feel pretty comfortable with it and firing multiple barrels. One's done. I'll open it just because it's like the last hand or whatever. So I think it was a pretty good session. There was a lot of interesting spots. It was very difficult doing the live commentary, I found. A decent number of turn cards here, so I'll see bet here, and if we pick up a spade or a 3 or a 5 or an overcard, then I'll go for it. And I'll probably end up... Oh, he's only got... No, he's deep, right? Yeah, good. I thought he only had 28 bucks. Yeah, so I probably would have bet there and then overbet the river. Same way I'd play a set, aces, any king, etc. Yeah, it was a heap of interesting spots. I did really struggle with the live commentary, and it definitely affected my play a little. I think the biggest things to pull away from this video are this sort of super loose game is something that I think you should work towards. So it's down about a bind and a half, and but the bulk of that was just from that catching the top range of that one bluff. Red line looks good, so probably just a bit of the run bad and the cards there. That's fine. We'll have a quick look at some of the biggest hands and see if there's anything interesting to pick up. So that was the King Jack bluff. That was a cooler. That was a cooler with the King Jack versus Ace Jack. The Queen 10 was close. I think I explained that pretty well afterwards. I just didn't expect him to think that I would call with worse than Ace Jack. very often, and it really kind of polarized his range when he shoved that Tony over shove for 2 times pot. Got really lucky on the turn, and I just didn't think he would bet that with. I didn't really think he'd bet it with the exact hand he had, but I figured he could be turning something like just a random pair, small pocket pair, or maybe like an ace five, or 6-7, 5-6, or something random like that on that board that he could have just been turning into a bluff. What other spots did we encounter? Nothing else really super fascinating. I think most of them I went through as we were playing. Yeah, I think that's about it, but hope you enjoyed that session, and next week I will pretty much definitely have a DC member video review for y'all, and we will try and get you guys crushing playing looser, more aggressive poker, and getting that red line going upwards, which is probably one of my best strengths, is working out people's red lines. So we'll stick to that, and hope you'll have a good week, and see you next week.